Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Evolution Podcast. Today, I have a special guest. We're going to be talking about user-generated content, marketing, and today I have an expert who's going to be discussing this with me. Catherine, it's all yours if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Catherine Royden-Turner. I'm originally from South Africa, living in Michigan at the moment. It's a pleasure to be on this podcast. I do UGC and social media for my living. So that's me.
What part of South Africa are you from?
From Cape Town.
Nice. Okay, so I'm originally, I was born in Nigeria, so that's why you said South Africa. I was like, interesting. So you've been in the, how long have you been in, you said Michigan, right?
Yeah, I'm in Michigan now, but I originally went to Florida first. I studied there, and then I moved up here after for work.
Oh, what part of Florida?
Miami.
Nice. Okay. All right. So huge contrast. So what would you say is better, Michigan or the Florida area?
I would definitely say Michigan. The heat for me is just too much in Florida.
No. I don't know. I don't believe that. Okay, guys, that's not. No, I don't know. Really. So you prefer Michigan, the snow, the cold, the desolateness?
I'm not saying that Florida is not nice to go and visit, because I would go
Okay.
back for a vacation anytime. But I just think for myself, long term, I can't stand the heat. You walk outside and you start sweating.
Okay. Do you speak Swahili?
No.
No. What's okay? Just because it's Afrikaans or what's the language?
Yeah, so our three primary languages in South Africa are English, Afrikaans, and Zulu. And then we have 27 cultures in our country.
Ooh, geez. Okay. All right. Okay. We'll dive a little bit deeper into that because I want to get it a little bit before we get into marketing. I want to kind of get a little bit in the origin story. Like what made you move? Because from what I was told, because I'm from West Africa, you're from the South Side. I thought South Africa was like everything's up and coming. It's the Mecca of Africa. So what made you move from South Africa to the States?
From my upbringing, I would say that it was always in the discussions with my parents to move out of the country, especially as a teenager. And at the time, I was a swimmer, so that's how I actually had the opportunity to leave. But it was more so the reasoning of the economy in South Africa is not doing so great. It was rising when Nelson Mandela was president, but afterwards, it's just taken a little bit of a knock. So that's why I'm here now.
Interesting. So what'd you study in Florida?
I did business.
Okay. All right. So walk me through. So you come into the States. What year did you get in the States?
2019.
Oh, that's fairly recent. Okay. So you moved so you don't like Miami, which FYI, I used to live in Fort Lauderdale, the Miami area. So I can't take that as a little bit of a diss, but it's okay.
I did like it. I did like it. It has a good culture and a lot of people popping, but
Gotcha.
It's not for me to live there forever.
There's too much going on in Miami, and it's also getting pretty expensive too. So if you live in that area, it's like I've got a friend there who was paying. Are you familiar with Brickell?
No.
Brickell? Okay, so it's like the downtown upscale part of.
Oh yes, my bad. I thought you were talking about a person.
No. Brickell. So Brickell, Miami. So he used to live. He was living in a high-rise apartment. He was paying like $2,400 for one bedroom. Now it's like $4,000 in the span of a year. And he's a big fan of the podcast, by the way. So shout out to you. But so interesting. So let's dive deeper. So you get into business, right? So why did you focus specifically on the marketing side?
I have always been on social media ever since I probably got a phone at 14 years old. And I honestly just fell in love with being a part of a community on social media. I'm a huge community person ever since I've been little. I'm a people person. When I can meet people, it's just fun, I'm sure you're the same.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes we need our space sometimes too.
Yeah, of course.
So I've always been a part of it, but it was more so when I came to the States, I saw how much of an impact it actually has on people, especially with the right knowledge and the right.
So what do you mean impact? What do you mean? Is it a good or bad?
I think it's a combination of both. So the impact that I'm wanting to make is definitely good. So providing people with the right knowledge and the right criteria and things that are going into the brain, because there's a lot of misinformation nowadays.
Interesting. So walk me through, because I'm looking at it. So imagine that I'm somebody who knows nothing about social media. My kids just convinced me to get it. I'm a grandpa. Somewhere just like what is this stuff? You like it. Yeah. So most people aren't aware of what you're talking about. So kind of give me a little bit of a breakdown. What are you talking about as far as like the misinformation or I would say honestly just access. I think anybody with a cell phone in this day and age could just put out any content. You know, if you can get views on it, people would think like your word is gospel. So explain a little bit. What do you mean by that?
So I would say it's exactly what you just said. Anyone with a phone can put anything onto social media. They can say anything they want. And especially with the fact that people are not face to face anymore, you can just be like, oh, you know, they're not going to see me. I can just type. So there's a lot of hurting words that are also said on social media and misinformation, as in, let's say I changed my career into a business coach. And now I'm telling people how to be a business coach, but I don't have the right information because I'm not a business coach.
Uh-huh.
So me putting that information out could have a huge harmful impact on people too, because then they're believing me.
So okay, so let's I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, okay? So just no this, nothing. But wouldn't someone give you the same approach, just saying, hey, why would I listen to you, your social media guru? Did you invent Facebook or Instagram?
No, by far no. I did not invent either of those. But I would say that because of my constant research and my constant up-to-date staying with the algorithm and Instagram and the platforms, especially because I'm very much in touch with the up-to-date things, that people can rely on me. And I do not do misinformation because I'm the type of person that I would want to listen to someone and they would tell me the right information and I can do the same for them. It's more like mutual benefit.
Okay. So I want to understand a little bit better. So what part of social media do you focus on? What's that area in which you have that expertise in?
I would say UGC. And then social media, I can do social media packages. I can work the whole social media, especially for Instagram. That's my expertise.
Okay, so let's break it through. I don't know. UGC could be unforeseen. I don't even know, GC, whatever it is. But what does UGC mean? Because I'm going in from a perspective of I'm a business owner that I'm not familiar with. Because I was doing a research because I've got a webinar coming up, and if you actually look at the data, which is very interesting, majority of business owners spend what was the math? I think it was less than an hour, 2 hours a week on social media. And most people just go ahead and just post. You've seen the generic, like, you post like a Canva post of like if a motivational quote and expecting that's going to get you a customer. So explain to me a little bit, what does UGC mean?
UGC is user-generated content, which basically means that I would contact a business that possibly has a product. So let's say I contact a hair salon and I say, I really want to promote your shampoo and conditioner. And then they would provide me with the shampoo and conditioner and I promote it through me being in the video so people can personally see it. So it's more of a personal experience. It's not just the shampoo and conditioner bottles.
So why does the business owner not just be in the spotlight themselves?
I'm sure they could be, but it saves them a lot of time because they have to manage their business and their employees and the complaints possibly that they get and just improving their business overall. So it's better to hire someone and save the time than do it themselves.
Okay, so now how would a user UGC work? So I'm thinking more about it from a perspective of, because most people who run a business don't, if it comes to social media, they want to outsource to someone who's an expert, right? So we work a lot with, we provide software solution, and not to want to plug in there, but that's the software right there. So you guys can go ahead and check out the link. If you watch on Instagram, it's gonna be somewhere. But when we work with business owners, what we find is most of the times they just want to delegate. They're like, hey, I don't know anything about this. You guys are the experts. You guys go ahead and do it. So is in a position in which they're like, hey, here's the script, say this and this, or are you kind of coming up with an improv and then going from there?
I definitely don't do improv. I definitely make a script and I make everything perfect before I actually do it. So I have a team behind me as well that will help me with the wording and the script and where we need to take the videos and location. There's a lot of things that come into play, and then we do it together.
Interesting, fascinating. Okay, so and how long have you been in the UGC world?
2 to 3 years.
So
I did some of it. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I did some of it in South Africa when I used to live there, but it was more so just for the experience and getting to know people. And now I actually do it for my job.
Okay, so this is, let's take on, okay, so we've discussed the role as a business owner. Is it enough income to live as a user-generated content creator?
Yes, it definitely is. It plays a role in a lot of different things. So, for example, it's not just, I'm going to sell you this video for this price. It also depends on how many views that video gets and the ROI that the business does get from that video.
Walk me through that.
Pardon?
Walk me through. If you can unpack that, because you
Okay.
mentioned views, ROI. Let's unpack it. Let's discuss the numbers.
So let's say I'm going to do something for your business. Let's say you sell, what would you like to sell?
And let's say I sell. I mean, we sell software. Let's say we sell a software solution that can automate everything about a business. Just let's keep it a little bit generic.
Okay. So I will come to you and I'll ask you if you'd like me to promote that through a personal experience to people online, which is a much wider audience than you could just get from word of mouth. We both know that. So then we would come up with a contract or what I like to do is I like to discuss things. I'm very traditional in that kind of manner. So we'll discuss like the pricing and how it's going to work. The way I normally do it is that I have a foundational price that is for the video. And then it depends on how much views you get for that video. And that will be a 2 to 3% higher.
Okay. And so as far as the ROI from what you spend, and it is a 2 to 3% increase in that. Now, because I'm thinking about it from a use case, because we have a business owner audience, owner audience that I like to say, people who just believe in something and then they just, we're basically, I would say, irrational enough to start a business. But
you gotta be passionate.
But then again, okay, so we're gonna get back to the UGC thing. Do you believe that passion is key to success, plays a role in success?
I think it definitely plays a role in success, but it's not the key factor that's going to make you successful.
What do you think is a key factor?
I think it plays a lot. I mean, okay. There's a lot of things that are going to contribute to success. One of the things that I've truly found that have helped me has been sticking to a routine and doing my daily checklist every day and improving every day, making sure that I'm 1% better every day. So I wouldn't say that it's just passion. You have to have some kind of passion for what you do, but eventually it does get boring or it feels like a job. But you just have to remember why you're doing it, and the why plays a huge factor. And if you're not in it for the right reasons, then I think that is when it probably is not right.
What's your why? What's keeping you in the business?
I have had a very diverse background. I think I've been fortunate enough to travel a lot of countries, and I have seen a lot of different cultures and people. And I have also, in my last couple years, experienced a very bad leg injury. So for me coming into the digital world, it was, I need to see how I can have an impact on people. I want to make, in some kind of way, even if it's small, I want to have a huge impact on people. The people that I really do look up to have made an impact on my life, and that's what I would like to do for others.
Okay, I know it's kind of diving deeper in it, but in
no, that's
what
okay.
way? So everyone uses everyone, and I'm not. I think I think the goal and the mission of what you've set out for. I 100% know that you're going to accomplish it because you said you're sticking to your routines. But a lot of people say the word impact. Right? Impact can be positive. Impact can be negative. Impact can be in a position. It's like, for instance, I have my my 5-year-old son, turning 6 now. We were having a conversation early last year.
Congrats.
Thank you. We trust me, kids are one thing that they definitely would change your life. But we were having a conversation, right? And so randomly I asked him, I said, "Hey, so Anthony, you got to get you're about to be a man old enough to get a job. So what do you want to do? Obviously he's not gonna get a job. He's fine. He's fine. But I was like, hey, you got to get a job. So what are you gonna do? And he goes, I want to be like you. And I just kind of that just kind of took me a little bit, because I was like, because I'm like, why? And then he just goes into this whole tangent of like how I'm this amazing, awesome person. And then I was like, and I was taken aback, because for me, my perspective, I didn't even think like I was actually like honestly doing anything remarkable. But when he said that, I then kind of took a step back, and I was like, wait, I am actually leaving an impact in his life in some way, shape, or form. Indirectly, as a matter of fact, I'm actually leaving an impact in his life. So in a way, I would say in my son's perspective, my impact is basically being a role model. Right. So
it's beautiful.
Thank you.
It must have been quite a moment for you, especially in that scenario, being like, wow, that's how my son sees me. That's truly inspirational.
that was I would say of all the conversations we've had, because having a conversation with a 5-year-old is the same. It's like, I don't even know, having a conversation in a dream and you just forget about it. It's not really something that you like expect to be meaningful.
Yeah.
But when he said that I would say, when as he gets older, that's when I'm going to tell him, like, hey, Anthony, remember, this is the first time I actually ever said his name, but that conversation, I would say, yeah, it was meaningful. But even till this day, I still think about everything I do, because I'm like, wait, okay, if in 5, 10 years I am this person, if he looks back and he's walking in my footsteps, would I want him to be this way? So the reason why I bring up that story is to get what you mean specifically when you say you want to leave an impact.
So I have a father that sacrificed a lot for my first 8 years of my life. He started a company in South Africa with his business partner at the time, and he has had a huge impact in South Africa alone. What he does is he sells, there's some fancy word, but the word I like to say for people that understand it is that he sells food and chemicals for pigs and chickens. And there's a lot of farms in South Africa. So the impact that he's had in my country alone has been phenomenal. So when I say impact, I mean impact like him, have an actual impact on people's lives where they see my presence and they're happy to be around me. And the value that I bring to them is exceptional.
And what's the ultimate goal for you?
In life, or which areas are you talking about?
I believe, okay, so I'm gonna piece it together. So recently, I do boxing training. Honestly, he watches this, so I'm not gonna say anything bad about it. It's the greatest thing ever. So and he's almost like, I would say, like my business coach as well, because we talk about business. Because he's in business, I help him, and we kind of interchange ideas and stuff. And we were having a conversation, and he gave this big speech to the Chamber of Commerce in the local city that we're in. And he said, most of them set goals, like in 2024, right? You set your financial goals. Boom. Yeah. I want to make $1 million in this month. I want to buy the Bugatti, the Lamborghini, and all that, travel the world, all that stuff, right? Everyone has their goals. But he says nobody ever sets a health goal. Right. In this instance, no one ever says, hey, this is my health goal. Because most people just don't, they think more financially, but they don't ever think about the fact that you need the help to make the wealth.
Yeah.
And he basically said it's all connected. So your goals, whatever big ultimate goal you might have in some way, shape, or form, is always going to trickle down into your life. Right. So we all have this ultimate one goal. It could be a business goal. It could be a personal goal. It could be, I don't know, a religious goal. So what would you say would be that one thing that if once you accomplish it, would be that one trickling point in your entire life?
I would say that it's to be financially free. And I know that might sound crazy right now, but there are a lot of things that play a role in becoming financially free. And you're completely right when you say that fitness has an impact, health has an impact. I am trying to make sure that all areas of my life are at least close to perfection so that I can reach my goal.
What is, okay, and I know I did this. What is financial? So financial freedom is a very vague word. What is financial freedom to you?
Financial freedom for me is my dream, which is the ability to do UGC and social media and travel the world at the same time. So it's not sticking to a 9 to 5, because that's something that me personally, I would not be able to do.
Is it a 9 to 5 in the sense as to you're trapped in a because not all 9 to 5s are cubicles, but let's say you're trapped in a geographical region, or what about the 9 to 5 is such a turnoff? Because everyone said the 9 to 5. I actually have a contrary opinion. I'll share that. But what about the 9 to 5 is that one thing that's kind of like
I wouldn't say it's like 9 to 5 sitting in a cubicle that really disrupts me, because I work mostly on my laptop and I'm creating things all the time. But for me personally, it's just that I wouldn't be able to sit in an office and not have experiences outside. For example, I'm a big person with nature. I love nature. I love animals. And being from South Africa, that played a huge role in my life, because I was able to see all the wild, exotic animals down there. Yeah. So that's what I would say. I think it's more, for me personally, I have nothing wrong with 9 to 5, just in general. A lot of people love their jobs, and that's wonderful for them. It's just not part of my life and not what I want.
Interesting. Okay, I understand that. So it's a more free, because I personally, so I was having a conversation with a friend, colleague, whatever you want to call it, and he's like, yeah, man, I was thinking, man, I don't really, the 9 to 5 is not my thing. I'm like, dude, you don't have a 9 to 5, bro. You do not have a 9 to 5. Your job is not a 9 to 5. But he was just basically talking to the point of like, he's like, yeah, I want a job in which it was more like, I think I want to start a business. And I said, why do you want to start a business? And he said, same. He said he wants to be financially free, wants to make more money. And I said, okay, honestly, man, I think 100% you can achieve the goal. But let me ask you one thing: are you willing to sacrifice sleep, time? Are you willing to get rejected like no other? Like you like people who reject you just by even looking at you. Are
Yeah.
you willing? Yeah. Are you willing? Are you willing to? And he goes, what do you mean? I said, most people put this glamour behind being a business owner, right? Everyone, there's this glamour behind. Oh my God, you own your own business. Oh, like your business, like you. When I was back in the day when I was single enough, yeah, I have a business. Like what? I'm like, well, even if the business wasn't making money, it's like, well, you had a business, what? So you kind of, so in that regard, I kind of thought about. I was like, at 95, you have more days off than a traditional business owner. My staff gets paid before I get paid.
That's true.
So they make more money than I do. So then I'm like, who's winning? My sister's like, yeah, I'll take a day off today. And, I'm not feeling too well, even though last weekend I kind of was celebrating my anniversary. But she's salaried. So it's kind of like you kind of think about those positions. And I'm like, a 9 to 5, almost in a way in which it's a cheat code because you just have a stable job. But I think, honestly, I think most people should stay in that because there's a lot of risk to owning your own business. Like,
And
you
a
don't
lot
have
of
a paycheck.
sacrifice, like you said. Sacrifice, I think, is the biggest thing.
Yeah, sacrifice is the biggest thing. Is like, but then again, also, this is where it gets interesting. There's a specific type of person that can actually make it as a business owner.
And what do you think that is, if you don't mind me asking?
What do I think that is? All right,
Yeah.
a crazy person. Here's why. Here's why. So, so me and so I have an attorney. We were talking, right, and we were having a discussion. It was like, and he said he's 33 right now, and he met his girlfriend of his. They did it for a while, and she was turning 30, and she's like, hey, I want to have kids. And he's like, well, I can't right now because I'm busy. I'm working a lot. I can't really. I can't. And she's like, well, if it's either we have kids, or I'm out. And he's like, and then he's like, man, my business is doing like 2-3 million a year. I'm kind of. But it was a sad situation. Obviously, he's a good person, but
Yeah.
that relationship ended, and then we started having the same interaction. I'm like, and he goes, like, because he told her, he said, once I turn 35, I'm going to slow down. And I told him, I said, that's a big lie. You just lied to that lady because you're not going to slow down, because once you turn 35, there's going to be more money, more people to know you, and the workload's going to increase. And
you
you
crave
like it. You crave it more. Exactly. You crave it more. You like it. You complain about like you work too much, but if you don't have any work, you feel like like
You're
your life is
bored.
trash. Yeah, exactly. You're bored. And we started talking about it, and we said, and then he's like, you think it's a disease? You think it's a sickness? I'm like, yeah, it is 100% a sickness, because here's why. The reason why I say this is, tell me if the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Right? And what do entrepreneurs do? The same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So I personally think you almost have to be, just like you said, the same thing is the discipline. I think the discipline is what keeps you going, because after a while you lose faith of you lose sight of the goal.
Yeah.
Right? Because you
doing
might
the same thing every single day.
every single year, and then you get into like this routine. Your goal was to be financially free, but but if I ask you a question right now, if someone said, hey, Catherine, hey, I know you love UGC, and I think it's the phenomenal thing. You're perfect at, you're good at it, but here's $2 million to never do it again.
I'd say no.
You'd say no.
Yes, and the reason being is because I'm the type of person that wants to earn my worth. I'm not going to just take it.
But okay, so
Very straight up.
okay, hold on. So if someone said 10 million, you'd say no.
I want to earn my 10 million.
That's good. No, that's good. But the reason why I asked that is because here's the thing: is most people who the reason why this is the reason why I wanted to know if you were in it because of the money, or if you were in it because of the entrepreneur disease, which I honestly would think it's an entrepreneur disease.
So it sounds like that, yeah.
It sounds like it, because the goal is not the money.
That's just an add-on.
It's just an add-on.
Yeah, it's one of the goals, I would say, but it's more personal growth is probably the biggest thing that happens with entrepreneurs, and them climbing the ladder, as we can say, is one of the most fantastic things that I can see happening.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. It's and then the money is a side effect. But then again, this is what leads me to the part where you were talking about social media, because there's a lot of people who are in it for just the money. They're
Yeah.
in it just for how much incentive. It's not really because, as you understand, we're in a people business, right? You're in a people business, right? It doesn't matter if you sell software, it doesn't matter if you sell trash, it doesn't matter if you sell goats, it doesn't matter if you sell anything. We're all in a people business because you need somebody to give you money, right? And this is something even I had to recently just learn. I'm like, hey, I'm in a people business. I need to get to more people to know me, because the more people that know me, the more people can flow me. It's a saying that
I like that.
yeah, the more people that know you, the more people that can flow. You can literally. So it's so funny. So the webinar with Royden, I literally just put out a. So we sent out an email to our email list. I'm like, hey guys, we're gonna be doing this webinar, and if you wanted to, if you can tag along, whatever. And one of the guys that signed up, he signed up. He called me. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna be showing up to your webinar." I was like, "Why?" He's like, "Well, because you said it's about this and this and this." And I'm like, "Yeah, but the what I'm going to be telling people about the webinar, you already have it." He's like, "Oh, well, I want more." And I'm like, "Well, I was like, well, I don't know what more." He's like, "Can't you like do it for me or something?" I was like, "You're not going to charge me more money, right?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "You want me to charge more money?" He's like, "This is fun. I love him. He's an amazing." And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, I've never had a client that's like, yeah, give me Chandra. But the weird thing is, I started realizing, like, people business, and I know him, I know his family, his kids, I know him. He kind of like you build that relationship, and but the weirdest thing is, I enjoy that more
Yeah.
than when I send him. I mean, I don't mind sending him an invoice and he pays. Trust me, I'll be the first person to tell you that, because I'm not gonna be self righteous and be like, no, I'm not gonna send him an invoice. No, absolutely not. No, because also another thing. Can you if you want to clarify this for me, most entrepreneurs do like to do free work. All right, what I mean by free work is this: there's this element of, like, how do I put it? I don't know. It's like there's this element of, like, you feel almost bad to, like, I'm gonna send them an invoice and charge them money. You get that feeling or no? Because you're just doing small, like, no, I'm gonna send them an invoice and they're gonna pay.
I think it depends on the person, especially where you are in your business. If
Okay.
you're starting out and you're brand new and you have little to no knowledge in what you're doing, I think free work is the way to go.
Okay.
But once you're established and you know what you're doing and you have you have a value to your work, I think that's where it draws the line and you need to charge.
But here's the thing with free work, though. Here's the thing with free work. When you do things for free, people don't value it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So it's a confusing message where you're like, hey, I'm starting out in business. I'm gonna do all this stuff for free. Because I remember we ran an advertising campaign for a client. I spent my own money, a few hundreds of dollars on my own money for this guy, and he never
Was
even
it
called it.
towards the beginning of your career?
This was not even, it's not necessarily because I started out, I used to be an insurance agent.
Okay.
So we were kind of like in the same similar field, but I was kind of transitioning to the software space, and I was going back into the network people that I knew, and I was like, hey, I was like, hey, it's working for me, I'll just do the same thing for you, right? And then just give me a good review. So I did it for him, and then he never even called. He's like, oh yeah, I didn't even know. And I'm like, hey, they're here, you mind calling them? He's like, never called them. And I was like, huh. And then I remember I then tried to do a partnership with another business, and I said, I'll put in 100% of the money. Your job is just to show up and sell. Let's just say that was a waste of my money, because nobody did. It's just like when people don't pay, they don't pay attention.
So do you think that comes down to the fact that you need to really niche down and find your specific target market that you can work with?
Not necessarily niche down and find target market. I just need to. People need to have more skin in the game.
That's true.
I think I could have a niche, because the reality is this: is unless someone is desperate, right? Like if you have someone who's desperate and then you help them, yes, they will work. But even in a desperate situation, if they don't, imagine this. Imagine, let's say you have to advertise for Social Impact Hub, right? You have to advertise,
Yeah.
and you didn't put in a single dollar of it. I know you seem like a very respectable person. I think you would actually do the work. But majority of people, they would they would take the money, but they would do the bare minimum, because they didn't invest the money, so they don't understand what it's worth.
And to
Right?
you, it means everything.
To you, it means everything, because if you had to work 160 hours in a month to make 5 grand, so that 5 grand is worth 160 hours of your time. and you give that 5 grand to somebody, just the same way with the 2 million, right? The 2 million, the 20 million, or the
Yeah.
10 million. It's not the same because you didn't earn it. Someone just gave it to you. It's the same thing as there's a statistic that people either, go broke or commit suicide within 3 years of winning the lottery.
Yeah. I think that also plays a factor coming back into the mind of an entrepreneur, because we know we know the value of our time.
Mhm.
Whereas I think a normal 9 to 5 worker maybe doesn't, because we invest so much time into our business, and
Mhm.
that it really shows how much time we're playing into our business compared to just a normal job. So I think that also plays a factor, because if I approach a large corporation and they have just employees, I think that would be completely different mindset to the one that I have.
Okay, because that's more different because you were more, it's smaller, you're still smaller,
Yes, but
right?
also because I know what my time is valued at. So
So,
we value time much more.
so when you first started, did you do free work?
I did do free work, yes.
Did people value the free work?
I would say 90% of the people that I approached valued it, but 10% didn't.
90%. Wow. That's the opposite to me. 90% was like, nah. And then 10% was like, okay.
So may I ask you how you did your free work? Did you
How
approach
did
the client first and then say, hey, I can do this for you. Would you be interested? And then do the free work, or how did you do it?
So there's two ways we did it. So the first way we did was we reached out, we emailed, and we reached out to people, businesses that were, or agents that were basically in the same niche that we were, and then we're like, hey, we'll do the work for you, and then at the end of it all, you pay us if you're satisfied, or just basically, it's kind of like a free trial kind of deal,
Yeah.
right? Kind of deal. So we did that in the beginning, and our conversion rate was not as high. Like right now, the software solution, I kid you not, we would give a free trial and our conversion would be less than 30%, right? And we would be in a position in which we're like, hey, you pay up front and our conversion is higher. So it's the stick rate as well, which means people who actually paid up front actually stayed longer. It's a
Well, they got
weird,
the value.
it's
Got
because
the
of the
result.
value.
Yeah.
Because of the value. But also I think it's because when they paid, they paid attention. Right? They actually use. I could actually check. I actually looked at the data. People who paid up front logged into software right away.
Because
People
they were
who
more
didn't,
interested, do you
they were
think?
more interested because their money was already invested.
Because they
So
have to be,
they
basically.
have to. They have to be. Versus a free trial, they won't even like. Some of them don't even. It was a weird scenario. But the reason why I bring that up is because I think honestly, if I was starting out in business right now, I would honestly just run an ad, possibly use UGC, find my target demographic, and I think UGC really performs much better. Like if I do an ad, no offense, if I did an ad and you did an ad, you would get a higher conversion than I would, right? Fair, because
Yeah. Just say it nicely.
yeah, just say nicely, you'd have a higher conversion than I would. So so it's a matter of okay, because now I would say I would just hire UGC, do the work, a few $100s. I mean, what is how much would you say you charge? What? How much would you say you charge per content?
It
Give me a range.
ranges.
Give me a range. Give me a range. Give me a
Okay,
range.
so
We don't want to bottleneck because at the time of this, we never know. Someone you might have, in like 2-3 years, someone's gonna watch this and be like, "Hey, you said you charged this," but you're like, "No, I charge $5,000, $10,000 per
yeah, it will
content."
be many, many years later. So right now I'm charging one ad for a business, which is the UGC creation, for $500.
That's
That's
not
my
bad.
foundational fee.
That's not bad. No,
Yeah.
that's not bad. And that's one piece of content they
Yes.
can use for. Okay, yeah, that's honestly pretty reasonable. For some reason, my camera's going, but that's honestly pretty reasonable for as opposed to, and then you guys would record all the stuff and use the product and the whole 9 yards.
Yes, exactly. And then also the 2 to 3%, depending on how well the video does.
So okay, so because you said you would get a 2%, 2 to 3% ROI depending on how the video does.
Yes. So the $500 is the foundational rate. And then after that, depending on how well the video does. So for example, if I'm talking to you and I'm like, okay, if you get 5,000 plus views, it goes 2 to 3%, depending on how many views higher it goes from 5,000. Does that make sense?
And that is posted on your account or the client's account?
On the client's account.
Now, but then again, that's like, how would you are you able to guarantee a client's going to get 5,000 views in a video?
Because of my marketing campaigns.
You're that much of a marketing genius that someone can get 5,000 views and 2% ROI on a video?
Yes. So because of my marketing campaigns and the way that we do our market research, I guarantee that. And we also do, as a company, a guarantee of 10% increase in sales within the first 4 months of working with us. And if you don't get it, then we give you a 50%. We give you 50% of the money back, because that's how confident we are.
Wow! So 10% increase in sales within the first 4 months. That's bold. That's a. I mean, that's a bold. Okay, all right. And what about if they're selling? I mean, how do you even know the product's gonna sell?
I think that's a little bit of a tricky question, because I mean, if we're in the marketing game, if I'm doing marketing and I'm not selling, then I might as well not be here.
True.
So I guarantee that it will sell, and if it doesn't, then you get your 50% back. But it won't.
That's both. I mean, you said that with confidence. You're like, listen. You it's like, listen. If you don't make 10%, I'll find those customers myself. And oh, God help me if I don't. Oh, no. That's good. No, that's good. That's good. No, I like it. I think, because I think I liken it in a sense to the UGC route is that's fascinating. That's very, very fascinating. But then again, okay, so now isn't that going to be? Let's look at it from perspective of, let's say you're doing an ad review for a client, right? Or isn't that going to be a confusing message, because they see you on the front page of the ad, or the ad per se, and then they go through the funnel and then they never engage with you like throughout the sales process?
No, I don't think so. I think it's the same as seeing an advertisement on the TV and you see a famous actor, and then the company has hired them to do the advertising. So you will contact the company instead of the actor.
Oh yeah, that's true. And then are you reviewing it are you doing it from a process of reviewing as from a customer perspective?
The way that I sell?
The way you do a UGC. So is it like, let's say you're reviewing a I don't know, let's say let me use a hair product. You mentioned a hair product a while back. I don't have that much hair, but let's say you're reviewing a hair product, right? Are you reviewing it from a position of like, oh my God, listen, this hairbrush, oh, love it? Or are you doing it from a position of, are you reviewing it from a position of like business standpoint, kind of sell the customers like a sales agent rep would, or are you giving them more of like a customer review, kind of like, hey, I've used it, I've demoed the product, it's a good product, I think you guys should use it?
I would say that it's definitely a mixture, but the way that I do it normally is I will discuss with the business what they want and what their needs are, and then base it off the client's needs and what their target market is. So if they're wanting me to say it from my personal experience, like this is how I used it, this is what an impact it had on me, then that's what I'll do. But if it's more from the client's point of view and what their needs and what their target market is, then that's what I do.
Fascinating. Now, did you go to UGC school? Is it taught business, or is it like something you just figured you were good at?
I think I fell into it. It was like falling into a lap, but it was a lot of research. Don't get me wrong. Business owners have a lot of work to do, which is probably more than 40 hours a week, especially in the beginning when you're investing your time and energy and focus and everything into it. But I would say that it's more of, I love people. I want to have an impact on people. And I didn't know growing up, especially what I wanted to do. So I did sales first and then kind of just fell my way into it. And here we are, and I love it. And I found clients.
What'd you sell first?
I sold a coffee product first. That was my first client.
You sold coffee. Interesting. Okay. What was it, like one of those fancy like Black Rifle coffee, or like, yeah, this is a coffee of champions?
The coffee of champions, definitely. No, so it was a coffee farm from Guatemala. They were my first client, and they had little to no knowledge on social media or what to do or how to advertise. They only sold within Guatemala. And after I helped them with the coffee advertisement, they were fortunate enough to have the opportunity to go to Taiwan and meet connections over there. And they're selling and they're doing fantastically now. They loved it. So it went really well.
Interesting. So, but you say you predominantly focus a lot on Instagram.
Yes.
What about if I mean, what about if a product doesn't do well on Instagram? Like if I don't know, like maybe you sell hammers or something.
Well, I personally use Instagram as my. Are you still
I'm
there?
here.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
still here. Yeah.
Okay. I use Instagram as my foundational platform. That's my favorite one. I think is the best. It has all the best qualities, but I also do advertise on other platforms. So it's not guaranteed. I mean, it's guaranteed to do well because it's done on different platforms.
Okay. Interesting. So TikTok, for instance.
Yes, that's one of them.
Okay. I kind of find it a little bit weird because I think you got to do like some dancing videos on TikTok to kind of.
I think it's had a little bit of a transformation, especially after COVID. COVID was like all the dancey dance, and then it slowly started going into ads and how people were selling on there and interacting. And I think one of the best things that people need through social media is that personal experience with someone. So they want to watch a person on their phone, not just a product.
They want to see. Okay. So they want that individual like using. Yeah. Because I would see stuff on TikTok like, hey, like I don't know. It's kind of a little interesting. It's kind of. Honestly, I'm a marketer, and this is where honestly I have a fault in is I look at some piece of content and I'm like, oh my god, like no, like punch me in the face if I do this, but then you look at it and it, like for instance, there's a friend of mine, she's phenomenal. And she was selling a product and she sold it, but she would just be like, dancing, doing all this stuff. And then she showed me the numbers, and I was like, whoa, okay, well, I guess it's time for me to start dancing. But no, no,
Well, I
it's
read the stats last week that it says that 80% of people nowadays like funny content. So funny content does way better than just the average normal.
but then okay, but then again, the thing about funny is like you say a joke, you might get canceled for it.
That's true. But I
We
also
live in a
like if you're gonna make a joke on social media, I think you need to be very cautious about what you're saying.
what's that? But then again, that defeats the whole point of a joke, though.
Yeah.
It's a
But a
joke
lot of
because
people are also very sensitive nowadays.
people are very sensitive because I could say the sky is blue and somebody might get offended that I said the sky is blue. It's like,
Yeah.
how dare you? The sky's not blue.
Or that the world is round.
Oh, don't, no, let's not
Yeah.
say that. Because then everyone's gonna come after us for like, oh, how dare you say the world is round? Have you seen like if you walk in, no. So it's just a very interesting. It's a very interesting world. It's a very interesting. But I think honestly, I think social media is. I would not, if you asked me 3-4 years ago about social media being a key, because I'm more of a B2B email guy, do some, but I was not a big social media guy until like I started doing the numbers, or you make a post and then you say like stories is one of them. You make a story and then someone is like, people just go like check out your stuff. You're like, well, okay, this is just a joke, but okay, people are doing it. So it's a very interesting thing.
Well,
Also, this one
have you watched the Facebook movie that came out?
when
It came out, I think, in July, August
of last year,
of this year.
2020, the 2023.
Yeah. And how Facebook was developed. It's so interesting because it shows how it was like the first time that people were able to see profiles of other people online. So they all got onto it, and it's a good movie. I suggest it.
Interesting. Okay, so that brings me another question. I'm just thinking from your perspective. Have you done any ad campaigns as far as running advertising?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Have you noticed, this is probably nothing related to the ad, but have you noticed that when a campaign is getting good organic, like a page is getting organic engagements, and then they advertise, the engagement drops?
I think it does to a percentage, but then you need to go back and you need to analyze your marketing. You need to make sure that what you're doing is still correct, because maybe you started focusing more on the advertising and the ads than over your normal content, which could play a huge factor.
Okay, because the way I was thinking about it, I was thinking about it more of in the sense as to like the social media platforms, like just give you a slap in the face, like, hey, listen, you're advertising now, so the only way we're going to show your content is if you pay. It's kind of like you kind of like it's almost like you give them a taste of your money, so they want more of your money.
Yeah, I mean, Isn't that how business works?
That is how business works.
But
That's the whole. Yeah.
I do think that because you're investing your money, you're guaranteed to get the following or the views or everything. Your
Yeah.
account should grow. So
Yeah.
if you do see a percentage drop in the beginning, it's okay because it is going to go up.
Fascinating. Okay, good. Okay, so as we wrap up here, I've got a series of dumb, fun questions. Now, the reason why I call them dumb questions is because to me, they're pretty dumb. But I had a guest on, and she was like, "No, you cannot call them dumb questions. There's no such thing as dumb questions. They are fun questions." Sounds like, well, we'll just call them dumb, fun questions
I've been
because.
I've been told that you're only dumb if you don't ask the questions.
Wait till you hear the questions then.
Okay.
Wait to hear, and we'll see if you still believe if you enjoy.
Okay.
Okay, so if you could be any social media platform, which one would you be and why?
I would say Instagram.
Mm.
Definitely, because Instagram is the best way to do all things with your business. So what do I mean by this? You can create content, you can bring awareness to customers of your business, you can run ads, you have a community, you're friendly use, and there's lots of traffic there. Everyone is using it in the world. So you're guaranteed to cross people's pages eventually. So that's what I would say.
Got you. Okay, so good one. Good answer there. Have you ever made a digital campaign about something you personally dislike? How did you handle it?
Yes, I have in my past. So basically what was happening was that I started working with a relationship coach, and
It gets good.
I soon afterwards realized that she was lying to her clients, and I completely opted out of it.
What was the lie? I want to know now. What was the lie? You don't have to say the person. Obviously, we're not going to say names. Don't throw names. We don't want anybody to come after us. But, it's the secrets.
So I'll give you a little bit of background before. She had 2,500 followers, and she was broadcasting to people that if you use the specific product to people in a relationship, that they were guaranteed to fall more in love. And after I heard that, I was just a little bit skeptical. So I was like, okay, I'll just keep my awareness away with this person, and then dropped out. It was like a week later. I was like, I'm done.
Did you use the product?
Nope, I didn't buy the product. It just sounded too sketchy. I don't believe in that kind of thing. It's just like too mythical, if I can say.
But the thing is, did she have customers who used it and then they had people fall in love?
Yeah. And I think it's more, in my opinion, it's more of a mindset thing. It's like,
Mm,
oh, I'm going to use this product, so I'll be more in love. You know what I mean? It's
gotcha.
like an
It's
unconscious
it's a
thing.
placebo. It's like a placebo effect. You
Yeah.
tell them, but then again, most of it has to do with marketing, though. Most of it has to do with marketing because you say the right words. As long as you say the right words and people perceive, like, oh my god, this product will make people more. Oh my god, yeah. Listen, I probably if this was 10, 15 years ago, I probably would have bought like 5 of those bottles of those things, just sprayed it on, just walked across like New York City, like, hey, listen, hey. Just like, hey, do you guys see? No, okay, no, okay, well, wait, no, all right, money back then. But interesting.
Or
Well,
you'll just keep believing it, and you're like, my time will come. Someone will pick it up. And I think that also plays a part. They just keep spending their money and waiting and waiting and waiting, and then it's just a cycle.
but what happens if someone does come maybe 3 months later and someone's like, oh wow, I smelled you from across the room. No, and then you're like, wait, it's the product. And
It
then you leave
works.
it works. Like 5-star review, like, oh, listen. No, I mean, I don't know. I personally believe, I think there's a weird sense of like, we almost to the relate, but that's kind of funny though. I was gonna get into like this whole spiel, but I'm like, there's no point in that. But that's funny though. That is funny.
Yeah.
Would you ever be a relationship coach?
No, I wouldn't.
Why not?
As a teenager, I never really got into relationships because I was like the little girl that wanted her prince to be my husband. And you know how little girls grow up watching Disney. Well, in my age, that was what I did. I watched Disney, and then you have the prince and the princess. And I used to give my friends relationship advice, even though I hadn't been in relationships. And now that I look back at it, I've been in a relationship for over 3 years now. And I definitely wouldn't be a relationship coach, just based on my experience.
Okay, well, hopefully he's not watching that because then again, it's it's not.
You can watch it.
You say he's not watching, but like, hey, you're like, what? You like what? The Prince Charming? Just what? No. Okay,
He's
that's
my
that's
Prince Charming, but definitely just I just don't. I wouldn't want to be a relationship coach.
no, I know. But the weirdest thing is, it's funny. It's like this. I can't talk bad about this because we most of the people work with are coaches, and you have a lot of people who are same thing. We have zero expertise in anything, and then they're just like, hey, I'm gonna go be a relationship coach. And fun fact, I used to be a relationship coach.
Oh,
Worst decision I ever made. Not doing it again.
why?
Worst decision. Why? Because I realized the problem was not was the problem was you couldn't. There was a deep rooted programming that was ingrained in people that I was coaching, that it wasn't. You could slap them on in a nice suit and it's not going to fix it. You could put them in front of the ideal woman that you're looking for and it's still not going to fix it, because deep down there's this deep rooted belief in, like, it's almost like they needed that spray, the lady spray, to be able
Yeah,
to to be able to. They need, but it was just kind of like, because I would have conversations with guys. They'll be like, "Hey, I'm like, hey, how do I, my ex girlfriend, how do I, I'm thinking about her, how do I get her back?" And I'm like, "Why do you want your ex girlfriend back?" He's like, well, I had this dream. It's like, okay, well, she's moved on. Why don't you just move on? Well, no, I can't, and then it's like, and then you kind of get into this position where you have to make miracles happen. Like, oh, I have to make you. I can't. That can't happen. Like, she's moved on. She's moved on. Like, move on. Stop being a stalker. But
yeah, literally. But so, do you think that comes down to the fact that they're still dreaming? They're not in a reality of accepting that happening.
I think what happened was they didn't understand, because here's the thing about, I came to realize in relationships is this is I believe that relationships are rented. Here's the reason why. Okay, the entire internet's gonna hate on me for this, but let me clarify. Okay, guys, before you tune off and all of a sudden cancel me off, the reason why is this, right? So someone explained to me the word unconditional love, like unconditional. I'm like, I don't personally believe that as a relationship, like, in a sense, like, for instance, there's specific needs that your partner has to meet for you, and the same needs for your partner as well. If
Yeah,
your partner stops meeting those needs, you start to feel like you're not getting some part of the relationship, right?
exactly.
Now, most of this dudes, when if they got the girl, they got her by the skin of the teeth. It was someone they met in high school, and then the she never, just some weird scenario, and all of a sudden they just unlikely became a couple. But then he would do things that, one was a very interesting one. He's a very good friend of mine, but one was he was overly too much affection.
Okay.
Okay, so it was like, and honestly, I would say, like, everything he did, if you read the novels and watched the movies, was everything that they said every man should do. He would, at night, she got back rubs, foot massage, and a bath every night. Okay, so he gave her foot massage. I know. He gave her foot massages. He gave her the whole night, like, massage every night before she, rose petals the whole night. And I'm like, dude, how are you affording this? Because this is a
Yeah.
little bit, this is, and then, but he did it every night, and then what ended up happening was she became something that was supposed to be seen, because the idea of romance is an element of mystery, right? Something you're not exposed to on a regular basis. So this thing that she wants, she started getting it on a daily basis, and then she went back to her ex, right? And then he said the magical words. He goes, he is exactly everything she hates. She doesn't like him. He has this and this and this. She doesn't. She told me she doesn't like guys like that. I'm like, yeah, but she's still with that same guy though. So it's kind of like, it's like something's not adding up. But I saw him go into this state of, I wouldn't. He used to be the happiest individual. I knew him personally before and after the relationship, but he
Yeah.
went in a state of misery and despair. Like a piece of him was just broken,
Mm.
right? And I was like, and I was like, and to me, I couldn't, because personally, the way I would tell him was like, I basically said, hey, you need to, you have formed this unhealthy attachment, right? Because you were somebody who needed somebody you needed to take care of, like you needed, like deep down, you wanted that element of, you want to protect and take care of someone, and now you've gone to the point in which you've formed an unhealthy attachment. And I told him, I was like, dude, this will be your demise if you keep staying trying to be, in this relationship where she has openly told you that she's going to, like, it'll be in a position where she's like, I am spending time with my ex right now, and he'd be like, well, whenever he leaves, can I come over or something like that? And I was like, and then
Oh,
I was like, I'm not gonna say it
the
though.
poor guy.
It was a definitely a no. I honestly, I just could not stand, because there was numerous situations like that, and I just could not stand them. I just couldn't be in a position where I'm like watching people just in misery over something that honestly was, but then again, also from my perspective was I never was them. I never felt what it was like to walk, to massage this person's feet and give them rubs and all that fancy
I
stuff that
guess
we
it's
did.
also he put his all into her, his time,
Hmm.
his effort, his love, and
Hmm.
then
And then it's gone.
yeah,
It's gone. So,
maybe he. Um, I'm not a relationship coach at all, but maybe he needs to find the right woman that will actually appreciate that every day.
but here's the problem. This is where problem comes in. No woman wants to date a guy that's miserable. That's
That's
one.
yes, that's complete.
No woman wants to be like, and then no woman wants to date a man that is obsessed with his ex. Those two things already like bam, it's an automatic disqualify, because he told me he had opportunities with potential people to date, and
Yeah,
he just was like, I'm not, I was like, hey, I'm still in love with her, blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh, I just like, dude, I'm like, oh my god, like
you
I
just want
can't
to
even.
help him.
But then again, but I think in his situation it was, there was nothing. There's nothing that personally, because you could just say, yeah, hey man, stop being a this stuff. But in that position, it's like the heart, the one of the hardest wounds to heal. I know it's gonna sound very sentimental, right? The hardest wound to heal are the wounds of the heart,
Yeah, it's completely
right?
true.
Because emotional wounds are not like, because someone could get, those are the hardest wounds to heal. And I was just in a position, I was like, hey man, I can't be that person that can help you, because then there's a way I almost have to be a therapist, and listen to you tell me about how you would draw the bath and the temperature she like, and then I was like, dude, that's so it was.
So, do you think that a relationship coach is almost a therapist?
I think relationship coaches that do it right is almost a therapist. But most relationship coaches aren't necessarily relationship coaches. They're more of like, hey, the more current day relationship coaches are relationship coaches that appear to men on 25 and under. In a sense, as to the appearing to men's lust and desire to have sex with different partners. Right. So when you appeal into that demographic, you just show up and you're like, hey, listen, I've got this supermodel here, this supermodel here, buy my course. You're like, how much? $500.
Okay.
What? Okay. And then they buy the course. But if you a real true relationship coach is, because the key word there is relationship, not like hookup coach, right? The
Yeah.
key word there is relationship. For a relationship to happen, you have to deal with two parties, because you're actually there's a relationship, which means there's a and there's a B party. Right. And for a relationship coach, you almost have to be, in a sense, as to a therapist, in a sense, as to you almost have to, one, talk to both parties. Like, one, I wanted to talk to her. I wasn't able to talk to her to say, why, what about him turned you off? I already knew why. I was like, I already knew, because obviously it's like the bats, the rose petals, the massage, even if it's like,
Yeah.
but I was like, but the thing about it is, she never told him. She never told him that she didn't like it. She just withdrew herself because she didn't want to hurt his feelings.
I think that's a big problem in the world now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
I
I
don't
think, yeah.
I think there's a lot of miscommunication, especially between men and women, and not knowing their roles or what they like.
You see, but this is what's even interesting is, even if you say the word rose in 2024, you would, oh my God, like, best of luck.
But
Yes.
I think it's beautiful because the view that I have is that everybody is different. So
Hmm.
I can't say my role is going to suit you because
Hmm.
first of all, you're a man and I'm a woman.
Of course.
And then there's a lot of other things that play a factor too. So what do I like? What are the things that I need? How do I feel safe, comfort? All of those things will be completely different to you and completely different to all the other people on this planet. So I think it also comes down to the person that you want to be in a relationship with or are in a relationship with. You just need to make sure that you are both on the same page and have the right communication. Because I think also communications.
Do you think, okay, I want to ask you a question. Do you think your culture growing up in a different non-American culture helped you out with giving you that mindset of, hey, let's talk about it?
Yes, I do. Especially because my dad does very old traditional business. He's just getting into social media now. But it was tough to convince him, but we got there. And he was the one that taught me, and my mom especially, because the two of them work together, that you need to have discussions always. And if you're going to have an argument, make sure that you that you get through it and you find a solution. You're not fighting each other. You're just fighting the solution together.
Mm-hmm.
The problem together, my bad. So I do think that it had a big role, especially with my family. They had the biggest impact on me.
Interesting. And but you see, now that is the secret sauce there, in a sense, as to the foundational knowledge where you grew up in. It's like instilled you with the values where you can come into a relationship and you're like, hey, because in a sense, I also think it take from this, you're a person that, hey, if you messed up, you're like, I messed up, right? But most people in this day and age, like, like, how dare you say I messed up? You messed up because I messed up, that you messed up, and then it goes into this circle where it's like, wait, how is it my what did I do? I wasn't even here. So I think in your perspective, I think, because the reason why I say that is because my girlfriend's French, right? And part of our dynamic is she has a different background and a whole nine
Yeah.
yards. So the first one I ever had who dated that took accountability was her, because I remember she said it was I can't remember what she did, but something happened and she goes, yeah, my bad on that, I'm sorry. And I was like,
Who are you?
I was like, yeah, I remember I was like, we were in Puerto Rico at the time. She goes, I'm sorry. And I was like, hold on, I didn't. She's like, what? I was like, and at that point, I was like, I can't even be like, I was like, wait, well, what's next? This is part of the script that no one ever. What's next? I was like, I guess we're making it. But that was another thing that I told her, was like that the one reason that I even showed that I decided to be in a relationship was she said that she took accountability. So I'm like, wait, it's not my fault for something that was not my fault to begin with.
Yeah.
But I think in current relationships, people don't accept accountability. They don't want to take, and in business in general, like even in business recently, I realized, like, in the marketing side of things, I'm an expert in marketing in a grand perspective. I can give insights, but when you go into the niche perspective, I don't have as much subject matter expertise. So I was like, hey, one of the things I'm doing in 2024 was I hired somebody with subject matter expertise whose sole focus is one area. Like, your job is not to divert to anything else. Like, you do not look at anything else, just one area. And I'll look at everything else. You just look at one area. And instantly we've seen an increase.
Yeah.
But then again, but I had to accept, I was like, dude, you can't run the whole thing. You can't be finance, marketer, advertiser, sales guy, customer support, onboarding, do all this stuff, because then you become jack of all trades. And then another thing was I was barely getting any rest.
Yeah, I bet. And that's a big thing, a big problem that a lot of business owners have, especially when I talk to them for social media or UGC. They're just like, please take it off my hands because I got no time to do it, which is completely understandable.
Which is awesome too, because you're like, yeah, absolutely. I got your back.
Keep doing your thing. I'll do mine.
No, I love it though, and I like the segue how we segued back into the relationship. And I think you would be I think I think you'd be an excellent relationship coach, just because you don't want to be a relationship coach. You just sit down and be like, hey, in a branch of Social Impact Hub, we have Relationship Impact Hub.
Relationship impact. I like it.
I want credit for that. When it comes out, credit, tag me, like, hey,
I will.
podcast. Yeah, tag, like, Relationship Impact. And listen, that guy would be your first client, because I'll be like, yo,
go to Kath.
Go to Kath because yeah, no, it's but I need to even check up on him. This just reminds me, I'm going to give him a call after this. So the third dumb question, okay? Do you think coffee from Las Morenas tastes?
You said it right, correct?
I did. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Las Morenas.
All right. Okay. Okay. Tastes better when advertised through UGC.
Absolutely. You can smell it through my videos.
Yeah. You can. You do. So when you make the content on your actual social media page, that's you actually promoting your customer's brand.
Yes. So I'll make separate videos for them to do and for them to post, which is what they pay me for. And then we'll do a collaboration as well if they're interested in doing it, just so they can get more awareness and a different target market towards them. So anyone who follows me, for example, can be like, oh, what is this coffee company? I need to find out because I love coffee. And then they'll go and click on the page, for example, and then there you have it.
But you review mostly local areas in Grand Rapids, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Not outside of the Grand Rapids area.
Right now, I'm doing mostly local, but I also have international clients.
No, like more because, like, for instance, most of the reviews I've seen, you've done like review restaurants, and I'm like, oh wait, I got to try this place. I got to try
Yes.
that place. So, you know, when I was when we had contacted you, I was in Grand Rapids on Saturday. It was a Friday. It was a Friday. I was in Grand Rapids for work, and I was like, I wasn't there long enough for to try one of the restaurants because I ended up ordering Chinese, which is not the best, but
But it is good. Different culture, which I like. I love all food.
more Chinese.
Yeah, we
No,
gotta try.
but it's not. It's not. Anyone from China would tell you that that is not authentic Chinese. That's what they give in America.
But it's
So
also the same as some Mexican places, for example.
that's true. That is true. That is true.
Their target market is Americans.
Yeah. So you make it more Americanized. Yeah. So you kind of tone down the spice. You know, you tell them like this is super extra spicy, and then like, what? Really? I just it's so spicy. Really? What? Did you try to Mexican?
I got to
What?
eat it.
Really? I get to eat it. Like what? I'm so proud of myself. Just kidding. But yeah. So Kat, you know, you've been great on like where can if someone wants to work with you, someone wants to like, hey, listen, I want some UGC content. I love what your advice you give on marketing, and you know what, you might be a good coach for my relationship.
I don't know about that, but I would say that the best place to contact me is through Instagram. Definitely, I'm always there 24/7. Or the other way that you can communicate with me straight away is to put your email on my website, and that sends your email to me, and I'll contact you straight away.
Okay, email, website, and Instagram, Social Impact Hub. Okay, guys. So if you're watching, all right, and I always like to say this is in the description. If you're watching an Apple Podcast, I don't know who does, but somebody. If you're watching Apple Podcasts, you watch on Spotify, or on YouTube. I think there's or
Yes.
somewhere else that we stream somewhere. It's going to be in the description box. So just go and click in the description box if you want to go and work with Kat. And also, if you're watching on YouTube, I see you. You haven't hit that like button. Don't make me come there and find you. Hit that like button, guys. Just kidding.
You got
So
to. You
hit
gotta subscribe.
subscribe. And also, if you guys believe that this video was of value and in some way, shape, or form, you know, is going to help you in some way in your business, share this video with one person. That one person, you can share it with somebody you care about, somebody you don't care about, somebody you don't talk to, somebody you want to annoy. Maybe it's that ex-girlfriend that you're trying to get back, and you're like, share the video with them, and like and follow, guys. And it's a pleasure having you on, Kat. And then again, guys, it was a pleasure having everyone who's on listening right now to this recording. And everyone, take care. Bye bye.